Hey, so this is part 3. Okay. Not even written it on the others, have I? Part 3. Okay, this is the last part I'm going to do on these for today. So we're going to be looking at adding subtracting fractions where we've got different, well, our denominators, not like in the last video. We're going to have to alter both fractions to get our common denominator. Okay, on the last video we only had to alter one. But this is very much the same. Okay, we're going to follow the same method. It might even be worth writing down a few steps in your book in case you start to forget these, because once you move on to multiplying and dividing, people start to muddle them up a little bit. So we're going to do the same thing we do. So let's write them out as steps perhaps. So step 1. Okay, find the lowest common multiple. Okay, lowest common multiple. And that's of the denominator. So we want to find the smallest number in both of these times tables. So I'm going to write out my 7 times tables. 7, 14, 21, 28, and so on. And I'm going to do my 5s. 5, 10, 15. Now I'm looking on my list. I don't see any numbers that appear in both lists so far. So I'm going to extend the list a little bit, make them a bit longer. Okay, so 35, 42, 20, 25, 30, still nothing, still no matches, so carry them on. So don't feel like you need to write loads and loads all at once. Okay, you're just going to do a bit at a time and see if you need to do more. Okay, don't feel like you need to write them all the way up to 100 each time. It might not be necessary. So 35, there we are. Okay, it's 35 that we were waiting on. So our lowest common multiple, the number that appears in both lists, 35. So we're going to convert these fractions into equivalent fractions. So we're still getting the same amount, but we're going to have it with a denominator of 35 instead, because that makes it much easier for us to add them together. Okay, because it means all the pieces of equal sizes to each other. So we want something over 35, add something over 35. Okay, now the step we need to do is to find, so let's see, step 2, let's say create equivalent fractions. Okay, so we're going to look at here, what did we multiply the 7 by to get 35? 7 multiplied by what is 35? Equally, if you find it easier, 35 divided by 7. Okay, will tell us what we multiplied by, and it is a 5. 7 multiplied by 5 is 35. So we do that the same thing to the numerator. 2 multiplied by 5 is 10. So just to see what that means, if we had back to the pizza, if we had a pizza split into 35 pieces and you ate 10 of them, that you'd get the exact same amount as if you'd cut that same pizza into 7 pieces and eaten 2 of them. Okay, you might feel like you've got a lot more because there's more pieces, but it's the exact same amount of pizza. Okay, on this side, what did we multiply the 5 by to get 35? That would have been 7. So we multiply the 3 by 7, we get 21. So now we've got 10 35ths at 21 35ths is 31 35ths. Did I just say 31 for that? I should have said 21, sorry folks. Okay, so 31 35ths is our answer to that one. Okay, I should just add final step there. Step 3. Solve, complete, I guess, yeah, complete question. That seems a bit of an unimpressive step, really, doesn't it? But that last step you were quite good at by now, I'm sure. Okay then, so let's try a few more of these. There is a misconception, that's the word I'm looking for, misconception here about these, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute, okay? With one of my other questions you're going to see, but I know some of you will be going, well, hang on, that's times by this one and this one's times by that one. Don't do that yet. Let's stick to this method. I'm going to talk about that by the end of the video. Okay then, so number 2, we're looking this time at 1/5, what can we see? 1/5 add 2/3. Well, I'm stuck on the paper. Right then, 1/5 add 2/3. So we're going to find our lowest common multiple of 5 and 3. Now, without writing out the list, some of you might be able to tell me that the lowest common multiple of 5 and 3 is 15, okay, which is 5 multiplied by 3. But as I just said, don't always assume that will give you the lowest common multiple, because it might not be the lowest by multiplying them, and you could end up with a lot more work than you need to be doing. So the lowest common multiple of 5 and 3 is 15. Feel free to write these times tables out if it helps. That's absolutely fine. So we're going to turn these into 15ths. What has the 5 been multiplied by to get 15? It is indeed 3. So we do the 1 multiplied by 3, which is 3. And the same on this side, the 3 has been multiplied by 5. So we're going to do 2 multiplied by 5, which is 10. And then complete the sum. So 13 15ths. Quite a nice one, that. Right, another one here. Subtraction this time. Oh, this is a nasty one as well. Sorry, folks. This is quite unkind of me. 7/8 subtract 2/9. I think I'm going to want to use the listing method for this one. So we're looking for the lowest common multiple of 8 and 9. Okay. Quite a tricky one, that. So let's write them out, these ones. It's not quite as pleasant as this, is it? So we've got 8, 16, 24, 32. Let's go up to there for now, see what we've got. 9, 18, 27, 36. Nothing yet, so I'm going to keep on going. 72. Go all the way up to the 90 to my times by 10. Let's carry on this side then. 48, 56, 64. Goodness me, 72. There we are, we found it, 72. Forgot maths for a moment then. Okay, so our lowest common multiple is 72. So we're going to turn these into 72ths. I guess that's how you'd say that. That's a tricky one. 72. So the 8 has been multiplied. Now, if you can't, not sure, you can count up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 9. Okay, and the 9 has been multiplied by 8. Okay, so now I've got a slightly tricky one there. 9, 18, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Helps you out with that one, doesn't it? 63, 9 times 7. And 2 multiplied by 8 is 16. Okay, and now, as we did before, we've got the common denominator. It makes everything much easier now. 63 subtract 16. Don't stress out and try and do it in your head if it's tricky. Do it on the paper. I'd rather everyone did it like this rather than trying to do it and getting it slightly wrong, because it's so easy to slip up. Okay, so we've got 4, 5, 6, 7 there. So that gives us 47 over 72. Okay, that's our answer down there. Right now, the last one I want to do on these, get another piece of paper, is one to just kind of address that misconception I spoke about. So we're going to do, number 4, do 1/6, add 2/9. Okay. Now, if we were to multiply those together, okay, so 6 multiplied by 9, we'd get 54 as our lowest common multiple. So let's work with that. Let's work with that and just see what happens. Add over 54. There we are. So we multiply them together. And so I know some of you might have heard this called the ironing board method, the upside down ironing board, because there's something that looks like this gets drawn on it. Certainly not something I'm a particular fan of. So try not to rely on that too much if that's what you've done in the past. But yeah, so we'll do the 6 times the 2, which would be 12, 9 times the 1, and we'd get 21 over 54. Okay, but they're quite big numbers and they're not very nice to work with. And if we do it the method I've just shown you, so I'm just going to write it out again. Okay, 1/6 add 2/9. Okay, and we're going to list them. So to look for that lowest common multiple, so 6, 12, 18, 24, 9, 18. Look at that already. Over 18. Okay, 18, 18. We've got 6 has been multiplied by 3 to get 18, so 1 multiplied by 3 is 3, and this side's been multiplied by 2, so we get 4 on the top. Add those together and we do get 7/18, okay, which is the answer. Now, this is also correct. Can anybody spot what's happened? What's happened is that this is not in its simplest form. Okay, so this is the same size fraction, but it's not in its simplest form, because actually the top and the bottom of this are both divisible by the same number. Okay, they're both divisible by 3. So if we were to divide this all by 3, we would indeed get 7/18. But that's just another big fiddly step, especially with some of the questions you can be asked with this. So much better if you use the lowest common multiple to begin with, you don't have to worry too much about that, okay? So yeah, multiplying them together isn't necessarily going to be the fastest or easiest way to do it. By all means, if you get really stuck, it'll work, but I wouldn't recommend it as a standard method to stick with. Right, folks, that's all I've got to say on those for now. Any issues, just let me know, and I can certainly get some more help put up on there for you. Cheers.